behind these deities, I presume.
Takže musí za tím být nějaký příběh, ale já o tom nevím nič, že nemůžete nějak komentovat.
Anyway, leave that for another time. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai! Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai! Prahlad Nrsimha ki Jai! Panchatattva ki Jai! Radhashama Sundar ki Jai! Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Jai! Anyone else up there? Anybody else? I said Nrsimha already. Prahlad Nrsimha, is it, or Lakshmi Nrsimha? Who is it? I couldn't see. Who is it? Who lives here?
These are not the temple deities, these are visitors. Visitors brought us.
Visitors?
Yeah, no, visitors, they are guests.
The deity are guests.
We worship here at the moment Panchatattva.
Panchatattva, so everybody else is visiting.
Yes.
My goodness, you have a lot of visitors here today. So who is the servant of Nrsimha Dev, the deity? Are they here? Who are they? Who is it?
Subhadra.
Also Subhadra. Bringing them all together. There for deities. Haridas Thakur came with me, and Gonitai came with me. And who is the Jagannath in the front?
It's me.
That's you. Kakas. And the little Jagannath, Baladev Subhadra, who are they?
It's me.
Who's me? Who's not me? Also you. Both. And who are the other ones? The ones higher up, underneath Radhashama Sundar. Who's are they?
Sophie.
Huh?
Sophia.
And where's she?
She's on a festival, ne?
That's festival. Uh-huh. Okay, is that everybody? And Panchatattva, they stay here.
Yes.
Jai. Hare Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada stays here too.
Yeah, but
Jai. That's what we need. Srila Prabhupada and Panchatattva. In the beginning, we were just coming from Paris. We were there for the 40th anniversary of the installation of Radha Paris Ishwara. Nice festival. They were installed by Srila Prabhupada in 1973. The 40th anniversary. Now, when they started in Paris, they just had, the first temple I went to was in Paris. Anybody know Paris? Anyone been to Paris?
Once.
Once?
Once I was there.
So it's, it's a very famous city, Paris, of course. And our first temple in Paris, maybe not the first, but the first I think it was the first, is a place called Fontenay-la-Rose. It's a small suburb of Paris. And they were also just worshipping Panchatattva there. So Prabhupada installed the Radha Krishna deities there. They're very small. The house was much smaller than this. Brahmacharya ashram was in the attic. Attic, you know, attic. The loft. And it was a really small old wooden house. We have a very nice facility here in Bratislava. How many of you are from Bratislava or near Bratislava? Hands up. If you are from or near Bratislava, please put your hands up. Hands up if you're from or near Bratislava. I'm not near, I'm just trying to encourage you if you are. So where is everybody else from? Tell me, where are you all from? From where?
Bratislava.
Bratislava. Okay. Košice. Who else didn't put their hands up? Pardon?
Piešťany.
Piešťany. Is that, where is that?
70 kilometers.
Not far. Quite close. How far?
80 kilometers.
80 kilometers. Not too far away.
1 hour journey.
1 hour journey. Not, it's pretty close. I mean, it's still in the area.
Oh.
Yes. And How many of you are from Czech?
Koľko z vás je z Čech?
Hands up is Czech. Czech. Let's check on the Czechs. Czech? Come on, hands up, Czech. Let's check on
Ale Česi?
hands up, come on, stick him in. Loud, higher, come on, put your hands up. Both your hands up as Czech. Anywhere else? I'm from England.
Ja som anglická.
Made in England.
Rodený v Anglicku.
So most of you are local here, and
Väčšina z vás je tu miestnych.
do you like this facility? Is it nice?
Páči sa vám tie podmienky?
Is it good?
Je to
Yes.
sú dobré?
Very nice.
Is it good?
Yes.
Seems like it is to me. I don't know. It seems like I don't know how the neighbors are. How are the neighbors?
Mne sa to javí, že sú dobré, ja neviem, akí
They
susedia.
are absolutely okay until, you know, the superheat, as the 38 degrees were, you know, the devotees had all windows open, and then the house became like a Hare Krishna loudspeaker, you know, so then the Mahamans were, you know,
They're wondering if there's an earthquake.
yeah, so they only complained if it became too loud, you know, so they say, okay, close windows and we tolerate it.
Okay. Well, let me know if it's too loud. Please.
Yeah, if we close the windows, we can do what we want.
Okay. Well, more or less. Yeah. So that's the case in many temples. You have to bear in mind that there are neighbors.
Tak je tu vo veľa chrámov, že musíte mysleť na tých susedov.
You aren't the only people in the world.
Že ako nie ste tí jediní ľudia na svete.
And that applies in every aspect of our lives, to be conscious of others.
A tiež ako musíme byť vedomí si ohľadne druhých.
Krishna consciousness is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life.
Krishna vedomie nie len filozofia, ale je to spôsob života.
And the way of life includes behavior.
A ten spôsob života tiež zahŕňa správanie.
Prabhupada said it. How do you know a Vaishnava? He said, you know a Vaishnava because they are perfect gentlemen.
A Prabhupada povedal, že Vaishnavu poznáš podľa toho, že je dokonalý gentleman.
And they treat everybody like that.
A že ku každému sa tak správa.
Jai, Hare Krishna. Perfect gentleman, Prabhupada said. They're very polite,
Dokonalý gentleman je
Respectful.
veľmi zdvorilý, úctivý,
considerate.
ohľaduplný.
Oh, you know, conscious of other people. Everybody is Krishna's part and parcel.
Bere na vedomie ostatných ľudí, každý je Krišnová čiastočka.
They may have forgotten that,
Oni na to možno už zabudli.
but they may be completely covered over with material ignorance,
Môžu byť úplne prekrytí úplne nevedomosťou.
and just simply by the good behavior of a devotee sometimes, this actually starts to soften their hearts.
A niekedy len vďaka tomu dobrému správaniu oddaného začne to ich srdce meknúť.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Mathura, how many of you been to Mathura?
A koľko z vás bolo v Mature?
Mathura Vrindavan, hands up.
Vo Vrindavane, ruky hore.
How many of you been to India, to Vrindavan?
Koľko z vás bolo v Indii, vo Vrindavane?
Have you never been? Never been to Vrindavan? No? How many ladies have been to Vrindavan?
Koľko
Hands
dám
up,
bolo vo
ladies.
Vrindavane?
What's happening here? Taking the ladies, this is...
Čo sa to deje, vy neberte so sebou dámy?
What's happening here? What is this? Discrimination. We'll have to tell the women's liberation movement about this. we talk of liberation, the men's liberation, gay liberation, women's liberation. There's no real liberation at all.
Takže sa tu rozpráva o tom, akože
It's another illusion.
pri slobode gejov, slobode mužov a slobode žien, ale nie je žiadna takáto sloboda. To je ďalšia
All these
ilúzia.
things are just getting more and more tied up in the material world. Bodily identity.
Tieto veci sa len ako stavujú také ušie a ušie vlastne v tom hmotnom svete na základe toho stotožňovania sa.
The only liberation is spiritual. There's no question of material liberation.
Jediné oslobodenie je duchovné, nie je otázka nejakého materiálneho.
We're all basically, no matter what we are, we're all basically slaves in this material world.
My sme prakticky všetci
And sometimes you realize it more than others.
Motiváci v tomto hmotnom svete a niekedy to je
We're all slaves. Slaves to Maya.
My sme všetci otroci.
Say this, do that, go here, go there, eat this, eat that, sit down, stand up, go to sleep, wake up.
Povedz to,
Put that camera down. Pick it up.
Povedz toto, rob toto, chod tam.
Maya is dictating through our mind and senses all the time.
A Maja diktuje,
Drive faster, drive slower. Turn right, turn left.
Maja diktuje naše mysli a zmyslom celý čas. Choď rýchlejšie, choď pomaly, choď doľava.
Moan. Groan. Be miserable.
Cicák, že zle.
And be happy. You know, we're all controlled by Maya.
A buď šťastný, že všetci ako kontrolovaní, ovolaní Májou.
The only liberation is when we take shelter of Krishna.
To je jediné oslobodenie, keď príjeme útočisko o Krishnu.
The window's opening, is that okay?
Okay.
Sure, it's okay.
Yes, until we don't sing it.
We must close it only during kirtan.
Oh, during kirtan.
Otherwise we can.
Well, I can speak louder if you want. Speak louder to know what is going on. This is the real liberation. This material energy, no one can overcome it, even if you're Hiranyakashipu. Even Hiranyakashipu thought he could overcome it. And in our modern age, some people also think they can, scientists, they think they can conquer over nature. One time in Berlin, that's a long time back, there was a conference. Science conference. This was during communist time, actually. And the title of the conference was Man's Conquest Over Nature. It was in the 70s or early 80s, something like that time. And scientists were coming from other countries to attend this conference. But they had to cancel the conference. They had no choice. There was a big sign that said, because of circumstances beyond their control, there was a heavy snowstorm, a blizzard, no planes could come in, no one could come. The whole thing was cancelled. So much for man's conquest over nature. One snowstorm, it was all over. But we like to think we can conquer over. The illusion of the demoniac mentality. But we're all being conquered. Isn't it? Can anyone conquer over death? Disease? Old age? Birth? Their senses? Their mind? Can you conquer your mind? Conquer your senses? Not easy, is it? What does Arjuna say in Bhagavad Gita?
Almost impossible.
Almost. He said, more difficult to control than the
Wind.
raging wind. But Krishna says it's possible. It is indeed difficult, but possible. But how is that possible?
Surrender.
Surrender by, he says specifically by
proper training and detachment.
yes, exactly. Practice detachment. By practice. So this pasada madhigacchati, these senses are very hard to overcome. You have to take shelter of the process, the path of freedom. That means taking shelter, surrender, same thing ultimately. Taking shelter of Krishna. And how do we engage our senses? How to control the senses? What do we do?
Listening and chanting.
Yeah.
We serve with the senses to the Lord.
Yeah. Engage our senses. We don't conquer the senses, that we offer to Krishna. This is the path of devotion. Sarva upari vinirmuktam tat patat vena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha bhakti seva uchite. This is devotional service. We engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses. And by his grace, then He controls. He's like Arjuna. He accepted Krishna as his chariot.
A je milosťou vlastne on potom pomáha nám s tým ovládaním a on napríklad prijal Krishnu ako Arjunu prijal ako Arjuna Krishna.
He literally accepted Krishna as his intelligence, guiding him.
On doslova prijal Krishnu ako svoju inteligenciu, ktorá ho vedie.
We have to try to accept. That's why we have scriptures.
Preto prečo máme písma.
Saintly association.
Svetské
Gurus.
združovanie gurúov.
Everything is there to help us to, let's say, take guidance from Krishna as our chariot driver.
Všetko je tu, aby sme vlastne získali, ako zobrali od Krishnu.
The chariot of this body and mind is just going this way and that way. Lost. You need a navigator. You need a GPS. What do you call it? Sat nav. What do you call it here? Huh? GPS?
Navigačko.
Huh?
Navigačko.
Navigate call? Your Google. You need something to guide you. You need the Guru Goswami. Google Guru. Everything you're on Google. Let me see now. Let's ask the Google Guru. We need some direction. Of course, Google may be very useful, but it can't take you back to Godhead. This may be in the material sense of the term. Of course, we use it in Krishna service also. By engaging our senses in so many, and engaging the objects of the senses in Krishna's service, one becomes freed of sarvapati, one becomes freed of designation or identity with this material body in the world around us. And one's heart becomes purified. Now that doesn't mean to say therefore we are kind of like totally, what's the word we say, out of touch with the world. We don't know what's going on. We're like completely like mad people or something. Not like that. A devotee is more conscious than people in general. Sometimes Prabhupada will say, first become conscious, then talk about Krishna consciousness. Be aware of how this world, how it's meant to be, how we're meant to use our body, look after the house, look after the temple, look after our family, and so on. All these things have to be done. Also be conscious of the fact that we have material, you could say, attachments. We have to learn how to, so to say, engage those in Krishna service also. We have to be very conscious of the nature around us, everything in this world. It's like Prabhupada sometimes on walks. He would talk about Krishna Katha. But he would be very practical also. One time he was on a walk and he saw in one of the gardens, somebody's garden, the tap was dripping, water dripping in the garden. Prabhupada went in and turned it off. Well, maybe it depends on the situation. You may get in trouble if you do that in some places. But Prabhupada was teaching a lesson. The devotee said, but asked Prabhupada why he did that. He said, this is Krishna's energy. The illusion is we're thinking it's mine. That's not ours. Everything belongs to Krishna. Politeness, and someone was saying, what were they saying? Yesterday it was in Paris, maybe. Yes, in Paris the devotees were saying in the early days when Srila Prabhupada came to Paris, there were these two old people who used to come to the temple.
boli starí ľudia, ktorí prichádzali do chrámu.
The devotees were all very young, they didn't really take much care of them.
Ľudia všetci boli veľmi mladí a moc sa
They
nich
didn't take
nestarali.
much notice.
Moc ich nevšimali.
When Prabhupada came, he saw these two old people.
Potom Prabhupada prišiel a videl
He
tam
called them to his room.
dvoch starých ľudí a
And he
zavolal
spent hours talking to them.
Strávil s nimi hodiny, rozprávajúc sa s nimi.
Prabhupada would do that. Sometimes with little children he'd do it too.
Prabhupada takto robil niekedy aj s malými deťmi.
And he was very special and, I'd say, very conscious of others.
Bol veľmi vedomý si ako tých
How
ostatných,
they feel and how they respond.
ako sa im cítia a ako oni reagujú.
The Lord Chaitanya, when he was in Mathura,
Pán Chaitanya, keď bol v Mature,
he said,
on povedal,
when he was traveling, Lord Chaitanya went traveling around India.
on cestoval po Indii,
And one time he went to Vrindavan, only once.
a raz išiel do Vrindavanu,
So
raz.
before he entered Vrindavan, he came to Mathura.
Až predtým, ako vstúpil do Vrindavanu, prišiel do Matury
And there he met this one Brahmana.
a tam stretol jedného brahmanu.
And this Brahmana, when he saw Lord Chaitanya, he was in ecstasy.
Tento brahmana bol v extázi, keď
He
videl Pána
started to
Chaitanya.
dance and chant.
Začal tancovať a spievať.
And they were dancing and chanting together.
A oni spievali a tancovali spolu.
Lord Chaitanya was curious
A Pán Chaitanya bol zvedavý.
and asked the Brahmin, how is it that he has such ecstatic love of Krishna?
Spýtal sa brahmanu, ako to je možné, že má takú extatickú lásku ku Krishnu.
And then the Brahmin revealed that actually he had had the good fortune of taking shelter of Madhavendra Puri.
A ten brahmana vyjavil, že mal ako, že mal veľké šťastie, že mohol prieť útočisko
Lord.
Madhavendra Puriho.
When Lord Chaitanya heard that, he bowed down.
A keď to Pán Chaitanya počul, tak sa mu poklonil.
Because Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master.
Pretože Madhavendra Puri bol duchovným učiteľom, duchovného učiteľa Pána Chaitanya.
Who was Lord Chaitanya's spiritual master?
A kto bol duchovným učiteľom Pána Chaitanya?
Ishvara Puri. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is the spiritual master of everyone.
Samozrejme, Pán Chaitanya je duchovným učiteľom každého.
But when he appears in this world, even Krishna also,
Ale keď sa dá to
Ramchandra
posvete,
also, when the Lord appears
Ramachandra,
in this human form, he accepts the spiritual master.
keď sa Pán zjavuje v tejto ľudskej podobe, tak príjma duchovného
Why
učiteľa.
does he do that?
Prečo to robí?
To show the example. Whatever a great man does, common men follow.
Aby ukázal príklad, vlastne to, čo robí veľká osoba, tak obyčajne ľudia nasledujú.
Same thing again. In this case, it's initiation or taking shelter of Guru. It's the same principle. Whatever standards they set by their exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Že akýkoľvek štandard oni učia, tak to celý svet nasleduje.
So they set standards not just surrender to Krishna, not just chant Hare Krishna, but behavior also.
Takže oni učili ten štandard nie len odovzdať sa Krishnovi a proste len čentovať, ale tiež aj to správanie.
So when the Brahmin informed Lord Chaitanya that he had the good fortune of taking shelter of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Chaitanya became overwhelmed in ecstasy.
Takže keď Brahmana informoval Pána Chaitanya, že on vlastne má Madhavendra Puriho za duchovného
Just
učiteľa, tak Pán
thinking
Chaitanya
of Madhavendra Puri.
vlastne bol prekonaný extázou len tým, že na ňom myslel.
Madhavendra Puri was such a... Well, from Madhavendra Puri, it's said that the seed of Madhurya, or the highest form of love of God, appeared in the form of Madhavendra Puri. First appeared in him.
Je povedané, že tá najvyššia forma lásky proste k Bohu, to semienko sa ako zjavilo ako v ňom.
And through his disciples of Madhavendra Puri, those seeds of love of God in Madhurya Rasa, that's the relationship of Krishna, conjugal relationship with Krishna.
A skôr si ho, že ako vlastne túto semiačku tej Madhurya Rasy, toho vzťahu miloveckého ku Krishnovi,
Through his disciples it started to fructify,
tak,
started to grow.
tak začalo vlastne rásť.
But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, it said it completely grew, full blossom, producing unlimited
A
fruits.
keď sa Pán Chaitanya zjavil, tak vlastne úplne vyrástlo a vlastne vyprodukovalo neobmedzené množstvo plodov.
In fact, we see in the 7th, 8th, chapters 8 or 9 of the Adi Leela, the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Napríklad Adilile v kapitole 8-9.
There Lord Chaitanya is appealing.
Vidíme, ako Pán Chaitanya
I am the only gardener.
hovorí, že on
How
je
can I alone distribute all these fruits?
jediný, že on je záhradník, ako je osamelý a ako sám môže rozdistribuovať tieto
The
plody.
fruits of this bhakti tree, this tree of love of Godhead, are unlimited.
To Plody tohto bhakti stromu, tejto lásky k Bohu sú neobmedzené.
I order everyone
Každému prikazujem.
distribute these fruits. Take these fruits, you can eat the fruits and you distribute them.
Rozdávať tieto plody, vy môžete zobrať a zjesť a potom ich rozdávať.
You order everyone, especially those born in India.
A obzvlášť tí, ktorí sa narodili.
Anyone born in India?
Narodil sa tu niekto v Indii?
Any Indians here?
Nejakí Indovia tu na?
Any Indians? No Indians?
Žiadni Indovia?
No.
Are you Indian?
I must excuse myself to welcome Bhaktiloka Maharaj in my place. Okay.
Oh wow!
Okay.
No.
See you.
Thanks, Holiness Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj Ki! Parameshwar Prabhu Ki! Send it my obeisance, please. He escaped.
Takže on šiel privítať Bhaktiloka Maharaju sebe doma.
You'll be giving class tomorrow here?
Yeah.
What time?
2 o'clock start the program, 1 hour is give and after class. So
2 to 4. Where were we?
Kde sme skončili? Distribution of,
Huh?
alebo distribution of fruits of bhakti.
Fruits. Got some fruits, huh? Bring the fruits.
Prinieste ovoce.
They're hungry. No Chaitanya, no one's from India.
Takže nikto nie je
So
z Indie.
that means no, the order's not for you.
To znamená to, že nie, ten pokyn nie je pre vás.
Actually, a few verses later he said, actually it's everyone, not just those born in India. It's all human beings' duty.
No, nie je to
But particularly those born in India.
nie je to povinnosť len
Bharata bhumite hoila manushya
narodených v
janmajara.
Indii, ale
Janma
špeciálne
satika kari kara para upakara. They should distribute these fruits, be para upakara. Show mercy.
tí, čo sa narodili v Indii, by mali rozdávať toto ovocie a preukázať tú milosť.
So, only basically speaking, Srila Prabhupada took that upon himself.
Takže vidíme, že
Who else does it?
Šrila Prabhupada on sám to vlastne tak vykonal.
Who else is that? Okay, now a few others are coming out.
Takže teraz sa tiež ďalší ako
Only because Srila Prabhupada, only because he did it.
ale
Otherwise they wouldn't come out either.
že Šrila Prabhupada to spravil.
Prabhupada converted so many devotees, huh? People in the Western world.
Prabhupada konvertoval toľko ľudí na oddaných.
They went back to India.
Oni išli späť do Indie
They patronized a few of Prabhupada's godbrothers.
a oni vlastne
Yeah, they went to a few of Prabhupada's godbrothers. They took shelter there.
a oni išli za nejakými Prabhupadovými duchovnými.
They gave them money.
Dali im peniaze,
They bought them tickets.
kúpili im lístky,
They arranged everything for them.
všetko pre nich zaražovali,
Took them around the world.
zobrali ich okolo
See
sveta.
what they did.
Ako,
But none of them did what Prabhupada did.
ale nikto z nich nespravil to,
He
čo
went
Prabhupada.
with nothing.
On-
He did it all.
A on prišiel bez ničoho a spravil všetko.
No one paid his tickets.
Nikto mu nezaplatil za lístky.
He had no one in America when he came.
Nemal nikoho v Amerike.
He had no support from India.
Nemal žiadnu podporu z Indie.
He had to start from the very beginning.
Musel začať od úplného začiatku.
And anyone who's made anything, as one of them said, one of the Prabhupada's godbrothers said, we're living off of Swami Maharaj, that's our Srila Prabhupada's remnants.
A niekto z bratov ako
We had nothing otherwise.
Šrila Prabhupada povedal, že my žijeme zo zvyškov Šrila
Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, whatever is fine. Krishna consciousness is spreading anyway. It's all coming through Srila Prabhupada.
Takže to rozšírenie vlastne Krishna vedel, že toto prichádza skrz Prabhupada.
Just one person.
Len
Couldn't you imagine?
iba jedna osoba, viete si to predstaviť?
I know that there's going to be many more in the future.
Ale viem, že bude ich o mnoho
In
viac.
ISKCON now, I was just talking to Parameshwari Prabhu. I was just saying there's approximately 10,000 serious ISKCON devotees in India.
A hovorím, že asi 10
When I say
000
serious, I mean really
asi
serious.
10 000 takých fakt serióznych žiakov
Trained up.
je v Indii.
Young,
Vytrenovaní,
educated,
mladí, vzdelaní
and ready to go.
a pripravení ísť.
Just getting cultivated more and more.
Ale ako sa stáva,
Some of them are already starting to, branch out.
len viac kultivovaní a niektorí z
I'm
nich
sure that in the future we'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of powerful preachers crossing the planet.
A ja som si istý, že v budúcnosti vidíme stovky, ak nie tisíce vlastne mocných kazateľov po planete.
However, we shouldn't rest, in English we say rest on our laurels. We shouldn't say, okay, I don't need to do anything. Maybe that will happen, I can just read.
Ale my by sme nemali tak oddychovať, že tak tak ja nemusím teda robiť nič.
You won't go back to Godhead by relaxing.
Nepojete späť k Bohu, len ako oddychovaním.
We've got to do a little bit our best.
Musíme aspoň niečo spraviť, to čo dokážeme.
It's like I was reading yesterday Srila Prabhupada lecture.
Ja som včera čítal Prabhupadovú lekciu.
He said the way you control your mind,
On povedal, to spôsob, akým ovládate svoju mysel.
you know what Prabhupada said?
Viete, čo Prabhupada povedal?
That the only way you can really control your mind is to engage your mind in thinking how you can spread this Krishna consciousness.
Jediný spôsob, ako môžete ovládať svoju mysel, je mysleť na to, ako rozšíriť to Krishna.
Otherwise we're thinking of this, we're thinking, try to engage that intelligence and the mind to see how we can play our part to spread Krishna consciousness.
Myslíme na niečo iné a mali sme sa snažiť zamestnať tú inteligenciu, ako by sme my mohli rozšíriť to Krishna vedomie.
Many of you here today I think are initiated, is that correct? Many of the devotees here are initiated?
Čiže veľa od nich tu je zasvetených, je to tak?
Some of you are not, but everyone's practicing Krishna consciousness, is that correct?
Niektorí nie, ale všetci praktikujete Krishna vedomie.
Everyone's practicing?
Yes.
Or regular devotees. So we can understand this, that it may not be that we cannot imitate Srila Prabhupada.
Takže musíme pochopiť, že my nemôžeme ako samozrejme imitovať Srilu Prabhupada,
But we can be empowered.
ale môžeme byť splnomocnení.
Anyone can be empowered
Ktokoľvek môže byť
to
splnomocnený.
spread Krishna consciousness.
Rozširovať Krishna vedomie.
I mean, light bulbs, different wattages there, but they're all nonetheless giving light.
Akože žiarok je tam rôzna voltáž, ale viac menej každý
Every one of
má
us
svetlo.
can do our bit to try to introduce Krishna to others.
Každý z nás môže niečo spraviť, aby mohol predstaviť nejak
In whatever way it is.
vedomie druhým.
We've mentioned one way earlier on, by good behavior.
Akýmkoľvek spôsobom, napríklad
That
tým dobrým
itself
správaním.
is, I've seen so many times, just by the behavior, I gave the example in Paris the other day.
Ako, ja som videl kopeckrát, že len tým dobrým správaním, jak som hovoril ten
I
príklad
was-
z Paríža.
1980 I was hitchhiking,
A v 1980 ja som stopoval
and I was dropped off in the middle of the night in this very, very quiet little road.
a ja som ako bol vysadený v
11 o'clock at
noci
night.
v nejakej malej, veľmi
No
opustenej ceste.
traffic,
Žiadna premávka tam nebola.
no one around,
Nikto
dark,
neokolo. Tma,
no lights, no houses,
žiadne svetla, žiadne domy.
just in the countryside somewhere in England.
Že sa v krajine niekde
I didn't even know where I was practically.
Som ani nevedel, kde som prakticky.
It was really dark and it wasn't very nice weather.
To bolo veľmi, veľmi
I
tmá.
thought, what am I
nebolo
gonna
také
do?
počasie. Ja som myslel, že
11
budem
o'clock at
robiť
night.
o 11. v noci.
Suddenly a car, it was a very narrow road, this car suddenly came around the corner.
A odrazu sa vynorilo auto spoza zákruty.
After maybe 30 minutes I was stood there, not a single car passed by.
Asi 30 minút ja som tam ani jedno auto nevidel som okolo.
Suddenly this car stopped
A zrazu to auto zastalo.
and boom, just saw me and maybe 50 meters it took before it stopped down the road.
Asi tak 15 metrov potom, ako ma videli.
So I thought, wow, are they stopping for me?
A myslel, že zastavili kvôli mne.
Kind of ran. You have to be quick if you're gonna get it. I ran down to the car
A ja som utekal k tomu autu.
and I saw it was a Volvo car.
A bolo to Volvo.
So I thought, wow, it must be a devotee.
A som mal,
Because many devotees had Volvos at that time.
pretože veľa od nich to
We had about-
malo Volvo.
There were about 80 Volvos amongst the devotees in England at that time. It was a Volvo habit.
Asi 80 Volvo tam bolo v tej krajine, v tých časoch.
Status symbol of a Hare Krishna, that was a Volvo.
Som sa stal symbolom Hare Krishna. Volvo.
I was an oddball, I didn't have any vehicle at all.
A ja som nemal žiadne auto.
So I thought, wow, it must be a devotee.
Som si
Good fortune, in the middle of nowhere, a devotee is driving by.
to musí byť oddaný, aké šťastie, že nikde proste a oddaný ide okolo.
I got to the car and the window came down.
Som
So
šiel,
it wasn't, I don't think it didn't look like a devotee, it was a well-dressed, well-to-do looking lady sat there in the wheel.
a vlastne to som tam prišiel a tam stiahol okienko a tam neboli to oddaní, nevyzerali ako oddaní, ale boli to nejaké dobre oblečené dámy.
And she said, are you from the Hare Krishna movement?
A oni mi povedali, si z
I was
Hare
dressed
Krishna,
like this.
ako hnutia,
I said, yes.
takto
He said,
oblečený.
where are you going?
Som povedal, áno, ale kam
And I
ideš?
said, I'm going to our temple near a place called Pershore, the Hare Krishna temple there,
Ja idem blízko,
Chaitanya College.
blízko ako do chrámu, tu na čo
She
je.
said, I know that place.
A on povedal, ja poznám to miesto,
Get in, jump in, I'll drive you there.
nasadni a ja ťa tam zaveziem.
She said, you're the first person I've ever picked up in my life hitchhiking.
Povedala, ty si prvá osoba, ktorú ja som v živote ako zobral ako
He
stopára.
said, but because you were dressed like this, I trusted you.
A povedala, že preto, že ty si takto oblečený, tak ja v teba mám dôveru. Môžem ti veriť.
Now, that's how it should be. We can't say it's always the case, but that's how it should be.
To je tak, jak by to malo byť, ale nemôžem povedať, že tak vždy.
People should see devotees like that.
Ľudia by mali takto
They are
vidieť.
perfect gentlemen, ladies,
Sú dokonalí gentlemani a dámy.
and she drove me there. Just well-to-do lady from England, but she had that feeling that she could
A
trust.
ona ma tam zobrala vlastne.
So people should trust us.
Takže ľudia by nám mali dôverovať.
So many examples could be there. Sometimes you see, like for instance, you're walking on the street, there's somebody having a problem.
Napríklad niekedy idete po ulici a niekto má nejaký
Maybe
problém.
they're an old person trying to cross the road.
Že nejaký stará osoba sa snaží
Is it a
prejsť
big
cez cestu.
problem to help them across the road?
Je to veľký problém pomôcť im cez tú
Is it
cestu.
a problem?
Je to problém.
They are Krishna's parts and parcels.
Oni sú Krishnové častice.
If you do, you can say, oh, I wasted 5 minutes helping that person across the road.
Keď to spravíte, tak môžete si povedať, že ja som strátil 5 minút
But
pomocou tej
not
osoby.
really.
Ale neskutočne.
Because what will happen in that person's heart, especially of course if you're dressed like this,
Čo sa stane v tom srdci tej
what
osoby?
will they think?
Obzvlášť, keď ste takto oblečení. Čo si budú mysleť?
What will they think?
Simply Hare Krishnas are nice people.
Nice people.
Hare Krishna sú dobrí ľudia.
When they come to the temple and you treat them very nicely,
Keď prídu do
what will they
chrámu a
think?
pekne sa o nich postaráte, tak čo si budú
They may not like the philosophy, we understand that,
Nemusí sa im páčiť filozofia, my to chápeme.
but you still treat them nicely.
Ale stále
What
sa
will they think?
o nich pekne postaráte, tak čo si budú mysleť?
I know my father said that. He said, I don't like you, I don't want anything to do with your philosophy, but you guys are nice people.
Ako môžete sa hovoril, že ja ako nemám nič spoločné s tou vašou
Nice people,
filozofiou,
not doing it.
ale
This
sú
way.
ľudia.
Their heart becomes a little bit soft.
A týmto spôsobom jeho srdce trochu zmeklo.
And then gradually, it becomes a place where the seed of bhakti can be planted.
A postupne sa stalo ako miestom, kde to semienko bhakti môže byť zasiaté.
You can't plant a seed in concrete.
A nemôžete zasiať to semienko
Most people's hearts are very hard.
Ako?
Do betónu.
Do betónu.
Stone. Their hearts are quite hard. I mean, they may be soft materially, but hard in the sense of spiritual.
A tie ich srdcia sú ako celkom také tvrdé, možno, že sú mäkké ako v hmotnom poňatí,
So,
ale duchovne
any
sú
little
tvrdé.
favorable thought towards Krishna consciousness softens their heart.
Takže hoci aká priaznivá myšlienka voči Krishna vedomiu
Slowly,
zmäkčuje
slowly.
srdce, pomaly.
The seed can be planted, and then gradually, as the heart, it's like soil, as it breaks down, the plant can grow.
A potom vlastne tam môže byť zase to semiačko a vlastne tá rastlina tam môže potom ako vyrásť.
And we have to be like worms, you know, gradually helping to break that soil down.
A my musíme byť ako červíci postupne sa snažiť
Giving them
ako
prasadam.
zničiť tam to, čo je soil?
Tú pôdu.
Tú pôdu ako a dať
You
nejaké
know, the worms, how they a very important part in making the soil.
ako vlastne tí
So the
červíci sú
plants can grow
veľmi
nicely.
dôležitou súčasťou pri tej príprave tej pôdy, aby vlastne tie rastliny
We have
mohli
to
pekne
prepare the
rásť.
way.
Musí tam pripraviť tú cestu.
Anyways, slowly exposing people to Krishna consciousness.
Pomaly vystavovať tých ľudí Krishnovi.
Like when we go on Harinam Sankirtan, I mean, just talking of the main inner ones, there are many others on the, you can say, other kinds of ways of bringing Krishna consciousness to.
Takže kopec rôznych ciest, ako priviesť tých ľudí Krishnovi.
Like when we go on Sankirtan, right, on Harinam,
Ideme napríklad na Harinam
you go
Sankirtan,
down the street,
ideme dole ulicou,
you push everybody out of the way, right?
všetkých vytlačame
Get
z
them off
cesty.
the footpath, make them walk on the street.
Prejsť akože z chodníku.
And if they get knocked over by a car, they'll be very lucky.
A keď ich zrazí auto, tak budú mať
Because
veľké
they
šťastie.
die when because of the Harinam party. They may be very fortunate.
Pretože by zomrú vďaka Harinam.
They died in front of the Harinam party. What a good fortune.
Je pre nich veľmi dobrý osud. Oni zomrú pri Hariname. Tam, kde...
You know, be conscious of the pedestrians. We sometimes stand right, I'm not saying bad, I'm just giving examples. We stand right in front of someone's front door of their shop. No one can get in or out sometimes.
Niekedy my sa postavíme, neviem, že to tak je, rovno pred dvere do obchodu a nikto nemôže ani dnu, ani von.
Being conscious.
Musíme byť takí vedomí.
People may not feel very favorably towards Krishna consciousness.
Ľudia nemusia sa cítiť moc naklonení
They
voči
tell their
Krishnavedomu.
friends.
Povedia to svojim známym.
They may put an article in the newspaper.
Môžu to napísať nejaký článok do
They
novín.
may complain to the police.
Môžu sa sťažovať policii.
You're driving your car.
A vy riadite svoje auto.
And you're driving it for Krishna, of course.
Samozrejme riadite ho pre Krishnu.
So therefore you can do anything you like.
Preto vy si môžete robiť, čo chcete.
We're doing it for Krishna.
Takže to robíme pre Krishnu.
Let us drive in such a way to, cut everybody else up.
Že ako jazdíme tak, aby sme tam všetkých
Park in front of someone's house
a zastavíme pred niekoho
so they
domov.
can't get in or out.
Takže oni nemôžu výjsť von alebo dnu.
Blow your horn every opportunity.
A pri každej príležitosti trubíme
Whatever it is.
čokoľvek.
Road hog.
Takže ako také cestové.
We're for
Cestné
Krishna.
praso.
Pushing, shoving, going around. This thing, that thing. What do people think?
Čo si budú ľudia potom mysleť?
They probably won't think very well of Krishna consciousness.
Si nebudú mysleť veľmi dobré o
It's the
Krishnavedomu.
example that the devotee shows, not just the philosophy, but it's how we show the philosophy.
Takže je to
We
príklad,
have to live the philosophy.
ktorý ako oddaní ukazujú a ako ukazujú tú
Prabhupada was a real everyone knew one thing about Prabhupada, even if they know nothing of the philosophy or the practice, everyone could see he was a gentleman.
Napríklad na Prabhupadovi, keď nikto nevedel nič o filozofii, tak mohol vidieť, že je ako gentleman.
So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said to this Brahmin in Mathura, he said, Madhavendra Puri. He talked about it.
Takže potom pán Chaitanya povedal tomu Brahmanovi v tej Mature, že Madhavendra Puri.
Religious principles, Prabhupada said, are established by the behavior of the devotee.
Takže tie náboženské princípy sú ustanovené správaním oddaných.
So he cited Madhavendra Puri as the ideal or perfect example of a Vaishnava or devotee.
Takže citoval Madhavendra Puriho ako dokonalý príklad Vaishnavu alebo oddaného.
It's just to be a little bit conscious, as you are doing with the noise, not to disturb the neighbors.
Treba byť nám trochu ako vedomí, ako
Keep the
napríklad
garden clean.
s tým hlukom, ako aby sme
Sometimes we see
nerušovali
devotees'
susedov,
gardens are not very tidy,
udržovať ako tú záhradu čistú, niekedy vidíme, že oddaní
even
záhrady
individually
nie sú až také
sometimes.
čisté.
They look like, what would we say, I don't want to say in a way which is derogatory or negative, but sometimes they look like some kind of derelict house.
Ja to nechcem povedať negatívnym spôsobom, ale niekedy vyzerajú ako
The grass is grown up, there's garbage lying around, the children's toys are spread out everywhere,
je tam rastie to tráva, hráčky deti sú všade,
the house is not being maintained,
ten dom nie je udržovaný,
there's kind of weird paintings here and there.
sú tam také divné
I
malby,
don't mean
sem
Krishna
tam,
conscious, I mean things on the walls
nemyslím
and
Krishna
stuff
vedomé,
like
ale
that.
také veci na stenách.
And people, they get an impression from this.
Ale ľudia z toho získajú nejaký dojem.
So when it's possible, we should always try our best to keep neat and tidy,
Takže keď je to možné, tak my by sme sa vždy mali čo najviac snažiť udržať to ako čisté.
clean.
Áno, čisté.
One time Prabhupada said, cleanliness is godliness.
A správa povedal, že čistota je ako
We
boskosť.
usually hear it's next to godliness. But we usually say it is next to godliness. But one time Prabhupada said it is godliness.
Väčšinou sme zvykli hovoriť, že je to hneď ako ďalší za tým, za tou zbožnosťou alebo boskosťou, ale právo povedal, že v skutočnosti to je
I know
boskosť.
it's not difficult for you being brought up here to understand these things, but do try to keep the property nice, tidy, clean.
A myslím pre vás, ktorí ste vyrastali tu, nie je ťažké pochopiť tieto veci, ale snažte sa udržovať
Look after the garden nicely.
toto vlastne ako pekné tú
Don't waste anything.
záhradu v poriadku a
Srila Prabhupada very much emphasized this as well, waste.
nesnažte sa ničím vrhať.
Back to gardening. One time Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was in a Gaudiya Math somewhere in India.
A z Bhaktiloka Saraswati bol v Gaudiamate niekde v Indii
And he saw the garden was not in a good shape.
a uvidel, že tá záhrada nebola v
He
dobrom
said,
stave.
why is this?
Povedal, že prečo je to?
There was no real answer.
A nebola
He
tam
said,
žiadna
alright.
odpoveď.
He said, then we will stop the class.
Povedal, že tak potom prerušíme ako
I am
lekciu.
going into the garden,
A idem do záhrady,
organize or do gardening.
aby sme ako dali dokopy
He
tú
left, he
záhradu.
went outside and started gardening
Odišiel z tej
in
lekcie
the
a
middle of class.
šiel ako záhradu čítam. To je lekcie.
Of course, everyone else then suddenly went out into the garden and everyone started gardening.
Samozrejme, všetci ho potom nasledovali a išli záhradničiť.
It's all these things are important. This is Krishna's garden.
Tieto veci sú dôležité.
Krishna's toilet. Not that Krishna needs a toilet exactly, but it does belong to him.
To sú Krishnové záchody, nie že Krishna by potreboval záchody, ale
Everything
patria.
belongs to Krishna.
Všetko patrí Krishnovi.
Krishna's kitchen,
Krishnová kuchyňa,
Krishna's car,
Krishnové auto.
Krishna's, this is also Krishna's, this body is also Krishna's.
Toto je Krishnové telo.
Try to look after everything as best as we can. We're not perfect, but as best as we can.
Snažte sa o všetko starať najlepšie, ako viete.
Just doing that and showing people how to look after Krishna's property nicely is another way of impressing people.
Čiže ďalší spôsob, ako zaujať ľudí, je ukázať, keď sa pekne staráme o tie...
These Hare Krishnas are hippies. Hippies.
My si nemysleli, že Hare Krishna sú hippies.
What's the latest? What is it now? Not hippies anymore. What they call the latest fashion? Rastafarians.
Teraz už ako to nie sú hippies, ale jak sa volá tá posledná moda?
What's the name? Punks?
Také je meno preto.
Nothing wrong with these things. They're the ones who are serious, a little bit interested in spiritual life. But to spread Krishna consciousness, we also have to grow in different ways.
Takže aby sme rozširovali Krishna, my musíme tiež rásť rôznymi smermi.
Different ways. These things, if Prabhupada would teach this, he would always, anytime he'd come anywhere, he would always look to see how everything was. Is it clean? Is it in order? And so on.
Takže hoci keď niekam prišiel, tak on pozeral, či to je tam, jak to tam vyzerá, či to je čisté, či tam je všetko, jak má byť.
So that's a discipline.
To je tá disciplína.
I remember when Prabhupada came to London in 1977.
Ja si pamätám, raz správa prišiel do Londýnu v 77.
And then it was the end of August 77.
Bol to koniec augusta.
We were having a non-stop book marathon.
A mali sme non-stop
We had
book
80,
marathon.
in London we had 80 devotees out on full-time book distribution.
V Londýne sme mali 80 dodaných, ktorí...
And everyone else, it was like a war, you know, you have,
rozdávali knihy.
everyone is on duty
A
basically.
bola to ako vojna, že každý bol ako v tej službe.
80 full-time book distributors, and then we had, everyone else was part-time book distributors.
Čiže 80 ako tých, čo furt rozdávali knihy a potom každý ostatný rozdával ako aspoň...
We were having a big competition with France. Germany had slipped down by then because of various reasons.
S Francúzskom a
So there
Nemeckom
was
tak
a
zaostalo.
three-way fight. The Radha Damodar party had gone down because they'd been more or less dismantled by 77. The Radha
Čiže
Damodar.
Radha Damodar, ako oni v 77.
So it was the west coast of America,
neboli už tam moc a potom...
England, and France. These three yatras, three countries,
Západné
areas.
pobrežie Ameriky, Anglicko a
And we were
Francúzsko.
competing every month. Who would do the most books?
My súťažili každý mesiac, kto spraví najviac
And
kníh.
we were edging ahead each time. London, we were England rather. We were edging ahead of the others.
To Anglicko,
But it
každý
was
rok vyhrával.
It was a fierce competition.
Bolo také...
Every yatra had their spies.
Každá jatra mala
I
svojich
used to
špionov.
go regularly to France,
Som
finding out what was going on
som
there.
pravidelne chodil do
And I was the
Francúzska.
Sankirtan coordinator, organizer in England.
Ja som bol Sankirtan
Yogesh Chandra was in France.
koordinátor v Anglicku.
Indrajumna Swami was in France.
Vedúna sa
Many
bol vo
big guns
Francúzsku.
were there. We didn't have so many big guns, we just had a lot of very determined,
Takže my
powerful book
sme
distributors.
nemali až takéto veľké zbranie u nás, ale mali sme veľa ako odhodlaných a mocných
And,
rozdávačov kníh.
It was really exciting. It was almost like a war.
Bolo to veľmi zaujímavé, bolo to skoro ako vojna.
But it was fun. It was so exciting because
Bolo to zábava.
we were in a mood that Prabhupada, that this is the way that we'll please Prabhupada.
My sme boli v tej nálade, že toto je
And he'll
spôsob,
stay
ako
forever
Prabhupada.
pleased through books.
A že on to ostane navždy, keď budeme rozdávať
It's the
knihy.
only thing we can do, the best service, the best offering we can make to Prabhupada is to distribute his books more than ever.
Že to je to najlepšie, čo my môžeme ponúknuť Prabhupádovi, rozdávať viac ako kedykoľvek predtým.
We were not paying enough attention, you could say, to the Bhaktivedanta manner of the property. You know.
Ale my sme moc ako
Everyone was out on Sankirtan.
nedávali pozornosť tomu pozemku,
Gardens.
ktorý nám tam manovali.
The gardens, you know, and the fields and everything were not very well kept.
Takže tie záhrady a polia neboli moc udržiavané.
The lake had not been cleaned for quite some time.
Jazero nebolo dosť znovu vyčistené.
We had 3 days notice of Prabhupada's coming.
A my sme ako za 3 dní mal prísť Prabhupada.
I mean, almost all the brahmacharis and brahmatrinas were out on Sankirtan.
Tak boli všetci brahmačari a
And many
brahmačari
Vyastas too, maybe more than 80 at that
na
point.
Sankirtane.
That was the solid Sankirtan party was standard 80.
Čiže to
But then
bolo
others too.
možno viacej ako tých 80.
We didn't know what to do, you know, because, well, we knew what to do, but we didn't have enough hands to do it at that point. We called everyone back
Všetkým zavolali
to
vtedy späť
Sankirtan
do
to
Sankirtanu,
clean up the manor.
aby to tam vyčistili manor.
And Krishna arranged it for 3 days. It just poured non-stop with rain, bucketing down.
A Krishna naradil,
We were soaked
3 dní proste tam v kuse pršalo.
head to toe. I remember you know Raghavir, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, his name is now, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami.
Poznáte Bhakti Chaitanya?
You heard of Bhakti Chaitanya Swami?
Počuli ste o ňom už?
He was the GBC chairman last year.
Bol ako ten
He was
GBC
Raghavir
chairman
Das
minulý
in
rok.
those days.
Bol Raghavir Das vtedy.
And I remember seeing him in the lake up to his neck,
A bol v tom jazera
trying to
školek.
get all the garbage out of the lake, you know.
Snažil sa vyberať všetok ten odpad z toho jazera.
Bottles and boxes and all sorts of stuff in the lake.
Flášky a krabice a všetko, čo tam
And
bolo.
I was in the garden picking up all the stuff that was lying around, all the old branches. Prabhupada would say, why are all those leaves over there? Why are those branches over there? Why is the grass not cut? You know what it's like cutting grass when it's pouring with rain. It's really fun.
Práve počne hovorí, prečo sú tam tie listy, prečo sú tam tie haluze, prečo tá tráva nie je pokosená, viete, aké kosí trávu v takom daždi.
Oh, we had quite a challenge.
Bola to taká výzva.
Anyway, somehow or other we managed it.
A nejak sme to proste spravili.
But when I picked Prabhupada up at the airport in the car,
A keď sme ako išli po
on the way back to the manor,
tak na ceste späť do Manoru,
we were doing so many books. I can't remember how many, but so many at that time.
vtedy rozdávali strašne veľa
You know,
kníh.
every week, 10, 20,000 big books a week.
Každý týždeň.
I know it's at least 10,000 a week.
10,000 aspoň za týždeň.
Big books, not talking the little ones. Bhagavad Gita's.
Veľké knihy, Bhagavad Gita, nehovorím o tých malých.
Every week. And so many new devotees were joining. Every month,
Kopec nových oddaných sa
at
pridalo
least
každý mesiac.
4 new devotees joined full time.
Aspoň 4
Every
noví oddaní každý mesiac na plný čas.
Because we had Danavir there. You all know Danavir Goswami.
Vyzeralo jedna na jednu hraču tam.
Danavir Vanachari. He was heading up the back room. We had Vipramukya, Rohini, Nandan.
Týchto oddaných.
Well, they were all like, you know, fully into the, like an amazing program, bringing new people into Krishna consciousness.
Oni boli úplne rozdaní tomu
And
programu.
wonderful program to groom them so that slowly after 3 months they were ready for Sankirtan.
A potom proste ako asi po 3 mesiacoch tí ľudia boli znovu pripravení na
It's a
Sankirtan.
bit mechanical, but it was very personal. It wasn't forced on him.
Čiže to trochu mechanicky, ale bolo to veľmi osobné, že
And,
nebol tam nejaký tlak.
Like that, I thought that Srila Prabhupada, if he spoke at all, he was very ill, but if he spoke at all, he would ask about book distribution or new devotees or something.
A Prabhupada vlastne bol veľmi chorý, ale keď niekedy prehovoril, tak on sa pýtal na rozdávanie
But he
kníh na nových oddaných.
He
Ale
didn't.
teraz sa tak
He only spoke about one. He didn't speak much, but he just asked a few questions of me.
Čiže teraz nehovoril moc, ale on sa mu spýtal len pár otázok.
And he simply asked, "How were the cows?"
A on sa mu spýtal, ako sú moje krávy.
I didn't know what to say.
Ja som nevedel, čo povedať.
I said, all I knew is they're out there in the field somewhere. I guessed that there were about a dozen of them, and even that I didn't know.
Že sa tam niekde na poli a typol som si koľkých asi.
The Prophet wanted to know who was looking after them. Are they being properly cared for? How much milk are they giving? What are they getting to eat? He wanted to know everything.
A Prabhupada sa vedieť, že či je dobre postaraní, kto sa o nich stará, či to majú
I was so embarrassed. He was so concerned about the
Ja
cows.
som taký zahambený, on bol
Because he knew that we weren't looking after them as well as we should have.
on sa robil také starosti o tie krávy, pretože vedel, že
So,
my sa o nich nestaráme,
you know,
ako by sme mali.
Prabhupada was like that. He was conscious of everything.
A Prabhupada bol si bol vedomý všetkého.
He would look at the car.
On sa-
Why is it like this?
On vlastne sa staral o to auto, že prečo
Sometimes he would go and look at the brahmachari ashram.
Niekedy sa išiel pozrieť do Brahmachari ashramu.
Brahmacharini, I don't think he went to the Brahmacharini ashram, but the brahmachari ashram.
Nešiel do Brahmachari
He used to check, he used to start thinking everything had to be first class, clean and tidy.
Pozrel, či všetko muselo byť prvotriedné a vyčistené.
And this is the way we keep Prabhupada always with us, is we try to think of how Prabhupada would like it.
To je, jak vždy my udržujeme Prabhupadu ako s nami,
How would he
že
like it? If Prabhupada would walk into my house now,
snaží rozmýšľať sa, že čo by nám toto povedal Prabhupada, keď prišiel do
remember it was
môjho
last
domu.
week I went to someone's, yesterday, day before yesterday, we went to someone's house.
Prečo som išiel do niekoho domu.
And they said they'd been so busy cleaning it, putting everything in order, making it look real nice because we were coming.
A on povedal, že ako boli takí zaneprázdnení, dávať to dokopy a čistiť to, pretože my sme tam išli.
Krishna's here every moment.
Ale ja som povedal, že
Prabhupada's here every moment.
Krishna je tu každý neustále, aj Prabhupada je neustále.
Thinking Prabhupada is with us wherever we are. Doesn't matter. You may be living 100 miles away.
Čiže môžem mať náladu, že
Krishna's just as much there as he is here.
Prabhupada je neustále s nami.
Prabhupada's there too. We can be with Prabhupada everywhere.
Môžeme byť s Prabhupadom všade.
In different ways.
Rôznymi spôsobmi.
Slowly try to be conscious. This is Krishna's house.
Pomaly snažte sa
Even if others don't know it.
Toto je Krishnov dom, aj keď dostanete
They may
napríklad.
say, no, this is ours.
Môžu povedať, nie, to je náš.
The body sees everything belonging to Krishna.
Ale tam nevidia všetko.
And everybody belonging to Krishna.
A každý patrí Krishnovi.
So preaching actually simply means to help people to realize that they belong to Krishna.
Takže kázanie jednoducho znamená pomôcť ľuďom zrealizovať, že patria
Preaching
Krishnovi.
means to bring pleasure to Krishna.
Kázanie znamená ako priniesť radosť
It's
Krishnovi.
not even about saving the conditioned souls.
Nie je to dokonca ani o zachraňovaní
It's actually to
povedených
bring
duší.
pleasure. Because do you imagine, how many of you have got children? Hands up.
Koľko z vás má detí?
Who's got children? Anyone have children? Quite a few of you have children. You don't have any children? So quite a few of you have children.
Tak celkom dosť z vás má detí.
So, if your child disappears and you know, completely, how do you feel?
Takže keď vaše dieťa úplne zmizne, tak ako by ste sa cítili?
How do you feel?
Ako by ste sa cítili?
How would you feel? Or how do you feel? You may not have that, but how would you feel? Maybe some of you have that experience.
Možno niektorí z vás
How
majú
does it feel?
skúsenosť. Ako by ste to
Anxiety.
či úzkosť.
Great distress.
Okay.
Like if your child becomes a Hare Krishna movement, how would you feel? If your daughter or son joins the Hare Krishna movement, imagine how you'd feel.
Vaše dieťa
Some dangerous cult like the Hare Krishna movement. Imagine what your child would do. What you would do if your child joined the Hare Krishna.
Čo by ste robila, keď tvoje dieťa išlo pre Hare Krishna?
Skákali od radosti.
Skákali by sme od radosti.
They would jump from happiness.
No, come on. Really? I'll tell you one thing, it's funny. Amongst many of the Indian grihastas,
Poviem jednu zábavnú vec, že pomedzi veľa indických grihastov,
they're devotees, they're even initiated.
oni sú oddaní do
But if their child decides they want to join the temple, no, no, no! No way!
že sa pridá do chrámu, tak nie, v žiadnym prípade.
They get so disturbed,
Vy ste tak rozrušení.
and they're initiated.
Ale oni sú zasvetení.
You can go to the temple and chant Hare Krishna and do everything, but you cannot become a full-time devotee. You've got to work. You've got to get married.
Môžeš ísť do chrámu, spievať Hare Krishna, ale nemôžeš sa stať na
Who's going to look after us when we get old?
Musíš pracovať, musíš sa oženiť, a kto sa nás postará, keď budeme starí.
What will their family think?
A či si budú myslieť ako tá rodina, zvyšok rodiny.
Many of them, not all, but many of them, they cannot, they're so disturbed if they're child. And they're full-time, not full-time, but they're initiated devotees.
Veľa z nich, nie všetci, ale oni sú takí rozrušení, keby ich dieťa sa mal naplno pridať do chrámu.
I've been serving in Indian eras for 20 years practically.
Ja som ako slúžil v Indii asi 20
I
rokov.
see it all the time.
Ja som to za každým videl.
They do anything they can to convince their children not to join the temple.
Oni čokoľvek spravia, aby presvedčili svoje deti, aby sa nepridali do
It's
chrámu.
amazing.
Úžasné.
Anyway, that's another thing. But a normal person, normal,
A normálna
a
osoba,
normal person, not like Hare Krishna, another,
nie ako Hare Krishna,
but people in general,
ale ľudia vo
if their
všeobecnosti,
child disappears,
keď dieťa zmizne,
we get these telephone calls, messages all the time. Is my son there? I found one of your books on his table. Has he come and joined you or what? You know.
potom oni
And then we
hovoria,
get these
je tam môj syn,
messages coming.
alebo správy, ja som zaslal
Please
vaše
send my son back home.
Prosím vás, pošlite ho späť domov.
It's like Janananda Goswami. Even his parents, they were devotees. Huh?
Ako,
Govardhan Majumdar and Hiranya Majumdar, his uncle and his father and his mother, they were like that too when he joined full time.
ako rodičia Janananda Goswami,
Oh, please send their son back home.
Oni chceli, aby poslali toho ich syna domov.
That's not a new thing.
Nie je to niečo nového.
For an ordinary person, let's get back to the actual example. If your child disappears, you don't know where they are altogether. The parent feels complete anxiety,
Ale keď
Isn't
to
it?
vaše dieťa
especially the
zmizne,
mother.
a neviete,
Isn't
kde je, tak špeciálne tá
Some of
matka,
you are mothers.
ona
You
cíti
can imagine how you feel, isn't it?
totálnu úzkosť.
I'm not saying join the Hare Krishnas, and I'm not saying that you're a Hare Krishna, but just take an ordinary person Their child, daughter, son just disappears, they don't know where the child is.
Ako v tom bežnom prípade, že ten ich syn, dcera proste zmiznú a nevedia, kde sú.
How would they feel?
Ako sa budú cítiť?
How would they feel? They feel terrible, isn't it?
Budú cítiť hrozne.
You can't hardly live. And mothers sometimes they can't live, they can't handle it.
Matky niekedy nemôžu ani ďalej
It's a
tak
terrible
snažiť.
experience.
Bude to hrozná
Terrible
skúsenosť.
experience. That child is just more them than they are themselves, practically.
Čiže to dieťa je pre nich viacej ako oni sami sú pre
Their
seba.
life is for the children. Children don't understand.
Ich deti sú ich životom a deti to
Understand. Only when you become a parent can you understand.
Len sa stanete rodičom, to
Feel.
musíte pochopiť.
So, of course you could say Krishna knows where everybody is. There's no doubt.
Samozrejme, Krishna vie, kde všetci sú.
But
Nie je
still, you know, if your child, like in this case we gave a devotee, the child becomes a Hare Krishna, the parents are in great anxiety. They do everything they can sometimes to get them out of the Hare Krishnas and make them normal again.
Sú vo veľkej úzkosti, niekedy robia
Deprogram.
aby ich vyťahli z toho Hare
They used to
Krishna.
have these deprogrammers in America.
V Amerike bolo
Get people out of the Hare Krishna.
Deprogramácia.
Normal.
Aby ich zobrali z Hare Krishna a spravili zase normálnymi.
Big thing. Parents would pay these people hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it.
To bola veľká vec, oni im platili
Hundreds of
$100,000, aby ich
Just to get
deprogramovali.
their child out of the Hare Krishna movement.
Aby zobrali ich dieťa preč z
Or
Hare Krishna.
maybe out of another cult, so
Alebo
to
z
speak.
iného kultu.
What they used to call cults. And they're hardly ever successful with the Hare Krishna, occasionally, but very rarely successful.
Ale veľmi...
But they did have
mali
success
úspech.
in some
Hare
cases,
Krishna
so to
ako
speak, in the beginning.
hnutie.
So they do anything. So imagine how Krishna feels. Okay, he knows we're in the material world. But imagine how he feels. Every single person, living entity nay, in this world is his child.
Takže Krishna ako cíti, že každá osoba v tomto hmotnom svete je jeho dieťa.
He's given us free will, that's why we're here.
On dáva slobodnú voľbu pre to.
You can't force your children to stay at home.
Ty nemôžeš ako nutiť svoje deti, aby
Keep
ostali
them
doma.
locked up, tied up, you know.
Držať ich zamknutých.
Raghunath Das's parents tried to keep him tied up.
Raghunath Dasovi rodičia sa to snažili, tak
It still didn't work.
nechať viazaného, ale nevyšlo im to.
It doesn't work. Here's the heart. A man, in English we say, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. An English saying. Say it poetically in Slovakia. A man convinced against his will
Takže ten muž, ktorý je proti svojej voľbe presvedčený,
is of the same opinion still.
je ako má stále ten istý
No,
názor.
he's still got the same opinion, even if you force him to act. You can't force someone to love.
Nemôžete niekoho
We order you to love him.
prikazujeme, aby si mali jeho
We've
rád.
made a law. You've got to love him.
My sme robíme taký
Okay?
zákon, že ho
Whether you
musíš
like him or
rád.
not, we've made a law. You have to love him.
Či ho máš rád alebo ne, tak musíš ho milovať.
You can't do that.
To nemôžeš spraviť. Nebude
Does it?
fungovať.
If you love somebody, you can't say because of A, B, C. It's from the heart.
Takže ty máš rád niekoho, to nie je kvôli A, B, C, to je to zo srdca.
It's not just some crazy material reason that one dedicates one's life to Krishna.
Takže nie je to z nejakého ako bláznivého materiálneho dôvodu, že osoba odovzdá svoj život Krishnovi.
You've got that free will. That's your free will.
Máte tú slobodnú
Free
voľbu.
will is from the soul. Free will is not from Maya.
Vaša slobodná voľba z tej
That's from
duše.
Krishna.
Nie od Máje, je to od Krishna.
Karma, providence, all these things go on.
Karma, prozreteľnosť, všetky
That's
tieto veci
the arrangement
pokračujú.
of Maya, but free will is the nature of the soul.
To sú aranžme Máji, ale vlastne tá slobodná voľba, to je to aranžmanom tej duše.
So imagine how Krishna feels, that there's countless living entities, his parts and parcels,
Takže si predstavte, ako sa Krishna cíti, že je neobmedzené množstvo tých živých bytostí, ktoré
in
sú
this
jeho
material
čiastočky
world,
v tomto hmotnom svete.
drifting around, suffering.
ktoré tu sú
Even if
ako-
you know where your child is, if you hear that he's suffering, or they're suffering, you feel awful again.
Keď vieš
Even if
napríklad,
you
že
know they are.
to svoje,
you know.
to tvoje dieťa niekde je a trpí, tak
We
tiež
were
sa
on
cíti zle.
Sankirtan in Newcastle a couple of months ago in England,
My sme boli na Sankirtane v Newcastle.
and there's this one young man came in with us,
A tam prišiel nejaký
and
mladý
he's
muž
been slowly coming to the temple. He's changed his life.
a pomaly prišiel do
He
chrámu.
was a heroin addict.
A
He
bol
was a heroin addict
závislý na heroíne.
before,
Predtým.
and he came out with us on Sankirtan on the street the first time.
A on
He
išiel s
was
nami
very kind of nervous and shy and
Na
self-conscious.
a on bol nervózny.
But he came out and he enjoyed it.
hanlivý,
And he had a surprise because he saw his auntie on the street.
Ale jej sa to páčilo ako...
His auntie had more of a surprise than he did.
Tam bolo také prekvapenie, že on
She couldn't believe her eyes
svoju tetu.
because she knew he was a drug addict.
A ona bola tiež prekvapená, pretože ona vedela, že bol...
Only ever seen him on the street as a beggar, a robber, a thief, a beggar, stealing money, begging money to get drugs.
A ona ho predtým videla ako takého žobráka alebo
For
zlodeja
10
na ulici.
years he was like this, living in
Peniaze na tie
squalor.
drogy.
And now he's going through some course, he's becoming straight, and he's taking up Krishna consciousness also.
Teraz vlastne po 30 rokoch on...
And she was so happy, she ran over and embraced him.
Príjma Krishna vedomie, ona bola taká šťastná, že utekala k
She
nemu a
was so
objala.
happy to see.
Bola taká šťastná, že to vidieť.
Was your pious lady?
A bola taká božná
So imagine how it is.
dáma.
We're like that. We may say, well, that's not. But we're all like drug addicts, like beggars, like thieves and bums in this world.
Ale my všetci sme ako takí závisláci, proste a zlodeji a žobráci.
Stealing Krishna's property, basically.
Kradnúci Krishnovi majetok.
Claiming it's mine.
A preukazujú,
Cheating each other.
že našim podvádzajú
Exploiting the world.
vykoristujúc
Wasting our human life.
a umrhajú s našim
Becoming attached to unending material desires.
a priputaní k nekonečným materiálnym túžbám,
Material things.
materiálnym veciam.
We're just like, legal drug addicts.
Sme to takí legálni závisláci na drogách.
But it's still legal or illegal, it's the same thing.
Ale či už legálne alebo nelegálne, je to stále tá istá vec.
So imagine how Krishna feels.
Takže si predstavte,
So preaching is to bring
Krishna
happiness to Krishna, is to relieve Krishna of his anxiety.
Takže kázanie na to, aby sme priniesli proste potešenie Krishnovi, aby sme oslovili Krishnu od tej úzkosti.
The mission of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan.
A to je misia.
Is there prasad for everybody or not?
Je prasad pre každého?
Relieve us of our anxiety.
Nebudeme vás nechávať v úzkosti.
This is preaching. To bring everyone back to Godhead for Krishna's pleasure.
Toto je kázanie, priniesť každého späť k Bohu.
That's what the pure devotees do.
Krishnovi potešenie.
They're thinking of how to increase Krishna's pleasure.
To je ako myslí čistý oddaný, on myslí, že ako
The
zvýšiť Krishnovi
secondary thing
potešenie.
is they're thinking how to deliver the conditioned soul.
Druhotná vec je, že on myslí na to, ako vlastne oslobojiť podmienené duše.
So we can assist those pure devotees
Je môžeme
in
pomáhať
whatever
týmto
way we can.
čistým oddaným a týmkoľvek
We can't
spôsobom.
imitate them, but we can
Môžeme.
assist.
Nemôžeme ich imitovať, ale môžeme pomáhať.
And by assisting the pure devotees to spread Krishna consciousness,
Pomáhať tým čistým oddaným rozširovať Krishna.
one is guaranteed to get the mercy of Krishna.
Je tam garancia, že získame vlastne milosť
No one
Krishna.
is more dear to me than he who preaches this message of Krishna
Nikto mi
consciousness.
je drahší ako ten, ktorý káže toto posolstvo Krishna vedomia.
So if we assist somebody who's trying to, or is preaching Krishna consciousness, then you become so most dear to that person, and if you please the pure devotee, automatically you please Krishna.
Keď pomáhame niekomu, kto vlastne rozširuje Krishna
Hare
vedomie, tak
Krishna.
sa staneme drahým tejto osobe a nakoniec sa staneme tak drahým Krishnovi, lebo pomáhame čistým
Srila
vedomím.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna. So let us create a big wave. The t-shirt says big, does it say big wave?
Či to tričko hovorí, že je veľká
Big
vlna?
surf wave?
Veľká
Big
surfová
surf
vlna?
wave. Let us create a tsunami.
Vytvorme aj taký
You know what is
tsunami.
tsunami? You know what is tsunami?
Ja, že tsunami?
Very big wave, huh?
Veľmi veľká vlna.
Too big for surfing, I think.
Moc veľká na surfovanie.
Big wave. And it's very interesting, the word tsunami. What does nami mean?
A veľmi zaujímavé, že to slovo tsunami, čo znamená námi?
Nami. Nami is Krishna. He who is named.
Námi
We have
znamená,
Nam and Nami. Nama, Namino.
znamená Krishna.
The name and the name.
Čiže
It refers to Krishna in the spiritual sense. It could be
Meno.
anybody.
meno a tento je akože
Nami.
pomenovaný
And
ako...
what does, when Su is there, what does it refer to? Subhadra. Su, who's there? Subhadra. Where is she?
She's on festival.
She's the festival. Very good. Subhadra. Badra means?
Čiže sú Badra a Badra znamená...
What is Badra?
Čo znamená Badra?
Huh?
Auspicious.
Auspicious.
Priaznivé.
Auspicious, fortune. Badra. And Su?
Better.
Very, very auspicious. So this tsunami is very, 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 very auspicious, you can say, name.
Sú znamená ako
So
veľmi.
we have to have this big tsunami
Čiže
to bring the holy name in a big way to everybody, whatever way we can.
znamená veľmi, veľmi priaznivé.
Many ways to preach, through internet, through speech, through chanting literally, through various programs devotees do.
Čiže veľa kázania, ktoré môžeme robiť ako cez internet, cez rôzne
Different
programy.
ways. You know, there's so many ways. Some devotees, they do it through yoga, now through the yoga circles. They do it indirectly in different ways, but some or another get that holy name.
Nepriamo to robia rôznymi cestami, ale tak či onak nejak tam dať to
Get it
sveté
into
meno.
the ears, whatever way possible.
Čiže akýmkoľvek spôsobom,
According to
ako to
our
možno.
inspiration. We may say, my way is right, your way is wrong, but they're all. Every way can be.
A my môžeme povedať, môj spôsob je
Many
správny
ways
a tvoja
to
nie, ale
spread Krishna.
proste hociakým spôsobom je, koľko
There's to be
spôsobom,
massive prasad.
ako rozdávať Krishna
In
vedomie.
Australia, our biggest temple in Australia
A v Austrálii ako ten
is a
nás najväčší
1,000-acre farm.
to ako 1000
It's completely maintained, not only maintained.
aková farma a is what?
1,000-acre farm. That's about 450 hectares.
Čiže asi 450 hektárová farma
It's completely maintained from catering.
je ako plne udržovaná z cateringu,
Catering, prashadam.
z rozdávania prasadám.
One of them, the leading devotee there, is expert at organizing. He has about 10 or 12 devotees doing full-time catering.
A jeden z tých ako vedúcich tam je ako expert v tom organizovaní a má
They
asi 10-12
they're not only maintaining
ktorí
the
robia ten
project,
catering.
they're not only maintaining it, they're developing it.
A oni nielen, že to tam udržujú, ale oni to dokonca
They've even purchased buildings for restaurants all over. They've got 8-9 restaurants now as well.
A oni to majú
Some of them purchased.
asi 9 proste reštaurácií tam, oni si z toho
They
kúpili.
were almost $1 million in debt when he took it to do this program.
A oni akože boli aj,
Now they're just booming
proste
financially.
mali dlžovu asi
Through
$1
catering,
milión, ale
prashadam.
z toho to vlastne to
Just
splatili
doing
a
prashadam. Just
rozdávali
like
prasadám.
today you've gone to the festival, a little smaller here, then sometimes they do at least $100,000 profit in one festival.
Niekedy oni robia $100,000 profit za jeden festival.
They make this, of course the Australians, they have two things, they've got money and they love to enjoy their senses.
Ja Austrálčania, oni dve veci, majú peniaze a radi si
Two are a
užívajú.
great combination for prashad distribution.
Je to výborná
They'll
kombinácia
pay
pre
anything
rozdávanie
if that
prasadám.
taste satisfies their senses. They don't care.
Oni ako si dajú za to,
As
čo
long as they can get the sensual pleasure, they don't. If they've got the money, they'll buy it. You know, doesn't matter what it is.
Pokiaľ to uspokojí ich zmysly, ako oni to...
And they love our curd steaks.
What?
Curd steaks
Panírový.
Aha, jasne, panírové stejky.
with tomato sauce. They love it.
S tým ako
They
s
really
tým
go
paradajkovým
for that
sosom.
one. That's the big sell.
To sa ako
And of
náraža
course the
predáva.
veggie burgers.
Samozrejme,
They love all these things.
Milujú všetky tieto veci.
All sorts of the hot, steaming hot halibut in the winter.
A tiež ako tú horúcu halu v zime.
It's a ball. Of course, we had Kerma there in Australia. He really set the movement in Australia by knowing how to prepare food for the Australian tongue.
A tiež tam máme kurmu v Austrálii, ktorý ako tam
Rich,
proste
tasty,
dal
unhealthy.
ktorý
Just
ako
what Aussies love.
vie
You know.
uspokojiť austrálsky jazyk, proste ako bohaté,
Everything's
nezdravé,
deep fried.
všetko smažené.
But they love it, and they remember us from the prashadam. Everybody, no matter who they are, they say, "I love you guys. Your food's the best." You like.
Že nás rozpoznali ako tomu prasadám.
Have you got any of your food?
Ja vás milujem,
Yeah.
máte výborné jedlo.
Fantastic. I was going on Sanktown one day, distributing books, shop to shop.
A ja som ležal na Sankirtán a dostal som
Is this in New Zealand? Same thing in New Zealand.
od obchodu k obchodu na Novom
And I came to this butcher shop.
A prišiel som do meserstva.
So I thought, what should I do? I go with that. There's a butcher, they're chopping up the meat.
A on sekal meso.
Big, fat, round, reddish faced guy, you know.
A pustá červená tvár.
And I thought, shall we give it a try?
A ja som pomyslel, že ak tak
What
vyskúšam
should I
to.
offer him? I had Bhagavad Gita's, I had vegetarian cookbooks, a few things like that.
Mal som Bhagavad Gita a vegetariánske
I
kuchárky.
said, well, nothing, in English we say, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
A v angličtine
If
hovorí,
you don't
že-
try, you won't get any results.
Že keď ako to neskúsiš,
So
tak
give it a
proste
try.
nebude tam ten
Give it a
výsledok.
try.
Si
Lord
povedal, že to
Nityananda
vyskúšam.
gave his mercy to everybody. So let's see what Lord Nityananda has in store.
Pán Nityananda vlastne dáva tú milosť každému, tak
So I went inside boldly.
Ešte som tam ako odvážne vnúka.
And up came the butcher's face, looked at me, started laughing. Hey, what do you want? Chop! He's off. A
to mesiac sa na mňa tak pozrel a sa smial, že
he was joking because he knew that I was Hare Krishna. I was dressed like
a podával mi to meso, pretože on vedel, že som Hare Krishna.
No, I'm a vegetarian. He said, what you want then? What you want in here? Huh? Well, I just thought you might be interested in a book. A book? Me?
A čo tu potom ty chceš? A ja som si myslel, že by ťa mohla zaujímať tú kniha.
I've got this vegetarian cookbook here.
Povedal som si, priniesol vegetariánsku kuchárku. And
I said, well, maybe you eat vegetables as well, don't you? I mean, your wife, you married? Got a wife? Yeah. Well, maybe she cooks veggies sometimes. And he said, well, has it got that recipe in it? He said. Recipe. Has it got the recipe in there? I said, which recipe? The pie! The pie! The pie is selling in a restaurant downtown, he said. Those things, those triangular things that you sell down there. Has it got that recipe in there? So the recipe was there. He said, how much is it then? How much is it? He said, I love them pies, he said. Whenever I go to town, I buy all the pies. I love them. If it's got the recipe, I'll buy it.
Recept tam bol a proste ako povedal, že vždy keď idem do mesta, tak
he gave me about 10 times what it was worth.
A on dal asi 10 krát toľko, koľko mala cenu.
The book, and I gave him a Bhagavad Gita as well.
A dal som ešte k tomu Bhagavad Gita.
You never know. Even though it's fallen person, someone that can be attracted to Krishna consciousness.
Neviete, kto môže byť ako Krishna vedomý.
Through prasada especially.
Hare
Hare Krishna. We'll create a big wave. People need it.
Takže musíme vytvoriť takú veľkú vlnu, potrebujú, oni spia.
Prabhupada created a big wave in the West. The movement was like a tsunami.
Prabhupada vytvoril veľkú vlnu na západe.
We can do it in different ways now. It's the same thing, can go on, but other things, we have so many other ways of doing it.
Môžeme to ako vytvoriť rôzne spôsoby, jak to...
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So we'll have class in the morning, I think at 8 o'clock? 7:30?
Ráno budeme mať lekciu od 7:30 do 8, tak nejako.
Then there'll be a class with Bhaktiloka.
Bude lekcia s Bhaktiloka Maharajom.
You have a full weekend of nectar.
Máte plný
Please take
víkend
advantage
nektáru.
of it.
Využite to, prosím vás.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Ilo Sveto Janananda Goswami. I.
Jai!
Ešte kreščenkami.
How many of you are coming in the morning? Anybody?
Koľko z vás príde ráno?
Coming in the morning.
To príde ráno?
Quite a lot of you.
Celkom
Okay, well, there's certainly time for questions. We'll have questions in the morning.
Takže
We won't have any answers, just questions.
takže ráno budú otázky, teda možno čas.
I mean, I don't know what your program is. Is there time for questions? No, no. Is there time now for questions or not?
Či je čas teraz na otázky?
I don't know.
Yes.
Couple of questions? Okay.
Takže niekto má otázky?
Ja by som sa chcela opýtať postupne, prosím ťa, že Maharaj hovorí, že v 77. rozdával knihy, že či si myslí, že sa nejak zmenil spôsob rozdávania dnes v tom ohľade, že ľudia majú o mnoho vyšší zmyslový pôžitok, o mnoho viac sú bezbožní, že ešte by vedel niečo k tomu povedať.
So we said that in 77 you were distributing books and she's asking that if it changed like book distribution today, because today there are more opportunity for sense gratifying and people are maybe less pious, so if you can say something about this change.
Of course, I haven't been distributing books in the West, really, of late.
Ja som akože nerozdával knihy akože na západe, ako teraz nejak posledne.
So I can't give a personal experience, so to speak.
Takže nemôžem dať ako takú osobnú skúsenosť o tom.
However, it wasn't easy then either.
Ale ani vtedy to nebolo ľahké tiež.
As you say, people have so much distraction now.
Ako hovoríš, tak ľudia sú teraz ako veľmi rozrušení.
It wasn't that they were interested in spiritual life then either.
A nebolo to tiež, že vtedy oni boli
We were like
zahľadali duchovný život.
We were considered a cult, we were aliens, you know the word alien?
Yes. My sme boli ako mimozemšťania, boli sme považovaní za kult.
You know, the authorities, we had a lot of problems with authorities. I used to get arrested sometimes every single day by the police.
A mali sme problémy s tými vlastne autoritami ako
Every
mestskými.
single day.
Niekedy som bol každý deň
And that would go on for weeks like that.
ako uväznený a
You know, we were being hunted.
boli sme ako lovení.
It was illegal, it was against the law.
Nelegálne, bolo to proti zákonu.
Now, many things have eased up. It's not illegal in most places anymore.
Teraz niektoré sú ako ľahšie, že
So people don't attack you these days, at least not where I've been, the little other places I've been.
to nie je nelegálne, väčšinou ťa ľudia nenapadnú dneska.
Most people know us.
A väčšinou ľudí nás pozná.
We're not regarded as a cult. We don't get arrested in most places. Maybe
sme
you do
brali
here,
ako
maybe you do,
kult.
I don't know. In some places, most places in the West, they don't.
Čiže na väčšinou miestach nie sme ako zatknutí.
Maybe their mindset has changed a little bit.
Možno trochu sa zmenilo aj tých
Perhaps
názor.
the approach has to be adjusted. I'm only speaking, I don't have direct experience.
Takže možno ten prístup musí byť trochu zmenený a ja ako nemám s tým priamo
Give an
skúsenosť.
example, Vaisheshika. You may know Vaisheshika.
Príklad
Has he
Vaisheshika.
been here? Vaisheshika. Perhaps the most effective book distributor in the world today.
Možno, že taký najefektívnejší rozdávač kníh na
The
svete.
major difference between now and then is that there are very few book distributors in the West now.
A to je ako hlavný rozdiel medzi tými dňami a tými, to je, že
I'm not including Czech and Slovak, I'm talking of the Western bloc,
Na
what was
západe-
called the Western.
na západe je teraz o mnoho menej rozdávačov, ako bolo vtedy.
You find in the whole of England that maybe there's 6 or 7 full-time book distributors now.
V celom Anglicku je 6 alebo 7 ako naplno
In
rozdávačov
France
kníh.
there are 0 book distributors.
V Francúzsku je 0.
There's a country with 60 million people and there's not one book distributor.
To je krajina so 60 miliónmi ľuďmi a tam nie je jeden rozdávač kníh.
Maybe one Harinam goes out every week in the whole country.
Jeden Harina tam ide za týždeň celé
1
krajiny.
hour.
Jednu hodinu.
So obviously, in America, there's very few full-time book distributors. There are, but not many.
Veľmi málo
Maybe 30, 40.
tak
The whole
rozdávačov
country.
kníh.
You know, then there was those days, it was like the mood, the spirit. When you have an army or team, you do things you would never be able to do on your own.
A vtedy tam bola taká nálada, že keď tam bola celá taká
You have
armáda alebo
confidence, you have
tým,
strength.
tak ty robíš veci, ktoré by si ako nikdy predtým neurobil.
Like the
Máš
Radha
tam sila.
Damodar party, 350 full-time book distributors.
Radha Damodar, v tej skupine tam bolo 350 polnočasov, ako náplno rozdávajúcich kníh.
Krishna Maharaj,
Krishna Maharaj.
so many devotees, Keshava Bharati Maharaj, so many great devotees won at parties. And you know, Tripurari and then Vaisheshika and others distributing different places. Now you take Vaisheshika now.
A vlastne títo veľkí lani tam rozdávali a keď si Vaisheshika Prabhu zoberieš teraz,
How is he distributing books?
ako rozdáva knihy.
He has trained many Indian people actually to distribute Prabhupada's books.
Vytrénoval kopec
Door to door.
Indov, aby rozdávali Prabhupádové knihy.
Not on the street, like push.
Od dvera k dverám. Nie na ulici, ako
And also
ale
doing
od dvera k dverám.
book tables.
A tiež tým, že ako
They go to
tými,
shop in America, everything's shopping mall.
tými ako, že stolikami s
So they
knihami.
find some places where they can do this. They can have a book table and they sell books.
V Amerike oni idú do tých nákupných centier,
Shows them how to do it.
nájdu si miesto, kde sa to dá robiť a tam
I
predávajú
mean, he's
knihy.
just expert. I
On
mean, you may have
odborník.
seen him, videos. You've seen videos of Vaisheshika?
Mohli ste vidieť nejaké videá s ním, videli ste nejaké videá s
You've
Vašešikou?
seen him distribute books?
Videli ste rozdávať knihy?
I've only seen, I mean, I know him, we speak, I've seen him frankly, but I haven't watched it, but I saw one once.
Ja som videl jedno jeho video.
And he was taking these young Indian boys, little boys,
A on
on
zobral
book
tých
distribution.
malých indických chlapcov na
They were just kids.
rozdávanie
But
kníh.
he was with them and he was showing them. They would just say, they would just knock on someone's door, just like the Buddhists. Say, Hare Krishna, I'm from the Hare Krishna temple. Would you please take a book?
A tí mali
That's what they
chlapci
made. They're very little kids, so I say.
klopali na dvere a oni hovorili Hare Krishna, ja som z Hare Krishna chrámu, že zobrali by si si túto
And this was
knižku.
just show this one lady. She said, I'm sorry, I'm a Christian.
A tam vidíte, jedna pani povedala, prepáč, ale ja som
We
kresťanka.
don't take these things. This is from a cult, and this is. I don't want anything to do with these things, you know.
My nekupujeme tieto veci, to je kult a ja
The
nechcem s
little
tým nič
boy
spoločné.
didn't know what to say.
A ten malý chlapec nevedel, čo
You know, I
povedať.
looked at my sheikh, and my sheikh then looked at the lady and said, "Ma'am, you're a Christian?" He said, "Yes, I'm a Christian. It is my lucky day." He took her hand, shook her hand. "I'm so fortunate to meet such a wonderful person like you who's actually a Christian." He shook her hand and smiled at her and said, "Thank you, ma'am, for being a Christian."
No,
And she blushed, she didn't know what the hell to say, you know, she went completely blank.
Potom ten malý chlapec sa pozrel na Šika Prabhu.
He came right back at her, you know. "I'm so happy to meet you, ma'am, that you're a Christian, you know. It's so wonderful to meet you."
On sa pozrel ten malý chlapec na Šika Prabhu a
And
on
she said,
povedal, že
"Well, what is it anyway?" And she took the book and they started reading a little bit. After a while, $10 came out and she took the book. It's got this way with people, you know. It's not tactics, it's the heart, you know.
Takže ten malý chlapec nevedel, čo robiť, tak sa pozrel na Šika Prabhu a on povedal, že pani, vy ste kresťanka, že to je super, že ja mám také šťastie, že stretávam teda kresťanku a sa s ňou potrasol rukou. A ona nevedela, čo urobiť, tak sa začala celá červenať a potom dala $10 a takže nie je to nejakou taktikou, ale je to, že tam je taký srdečný prístup.
So it's like that, it's your heart, you know, if your sincere heart,
Takže je to tak, že
it naturally affects people.
keď si úprimná, keď je tam máš úprimné srdce, tak to prirodzene ovplyvňuje tých ľudí.
I was with him in maybe last November or something, and he just got a call or email or something from he was in India, from the devotees in San Jose, which is where he preaches in California.
Vlastne on bol v Indii minulý nejaký rok v novembri a